Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice is highly revealing, even in its minute details of the zeitgeist of the early Renaissance. Namely, there is an offhanded mention of ships belonging to Antonio traveling all around the world for trade. In our coursework, we have come to understand that Italian city-states, especially Venice, were trade powerhouses. It only makes sense that ships are traveling around Europe and across the Atlantic to bring goods back to Europe. Of course, with new avenues for trade comes the invention of double book keeping, or the introduction of it, which is when a ledger maintains credit and debit information, or logs of assets and liabilities, what one owns and what one owes. There's no doubt currency has become the focus of society at this point. As we noted in class on the 10th of September, people are no longer saved by God as they were in the Middle Ages. People are now saving God. I don't mean this literally. I mean that the focus of the once stagnant society has turned away from the divine and has become a dynamic one focused on wealth. For the first time, one can move up in the social ladder. One no longer has to accept one's place at the bottom. Europe is ruled by a mercantilist ideology as currency, banking, trade, and the merchant class have become widespread. New discoveries and challenges are popping up. Corn, tobacco, tomatoes, potatoes, hot peppers, turkeys, and diseases are all being introduced. Syphilis caused panic in Europe as people pointed the finger at their sworn continental enemies. If you lived during this time, you might be obviously pretty anxious from all this commotion. Hence, Antonio knows not in sooth why he is so sad, as does Portia. One could even draw parallels to today. New discoveries and challenges are also arising. The advent of artificial intelligence with companies like DeepSeek, OpenAI, the rise of class consciousness with Luigi Mangione and No King's Day, ideological polarization as extremism rises in Europe, conflict in the Levant escalates, surveillance technologies, and the case of Jeffrey Epstein become larger talking points. This is just cause for anxiety. This is pretty serious stuff that we're talking about. Now, I'm not saying go out and be anxious. The world is ending. What I'm saying is that if it were the Merchant of Wall Street, you would know exactly why Antonio and Portia are upset. There wouldn't be a question about it. You might even say, me too. Fear not, however. Shakespeare offers us a solution. Portia's favor is won by Bassanio through the game with the three chests. Bassanio wants to pick immediately, but Portia says to tarry, the favorite word of ours, and to stop to enjoy music. Shakespeare is saying, be critical of situations. Stop and think before you act, and allow the music of life to envelop you. In my eyes, Shakespeare has told his audience to move strategically and find joy through hardship. Bassanio stops to think before making the right choice, and Antonio perseveres with joy by helping his friends in need. It is evident that Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice embodies very important life lessons that can help people overcome anxiety and misfortune. I would go so far as to say that this work is especially relevant today, as we're experiencing the turn of an era, some would claim. We're exiting the information age and entering the silicon age, and this can be very nerve-wracking as someone who is living through this turn of the century. People have been saying that they are living through the end times since the beginning of time, and some would say that this is one of those times. But Shakespeare says, no, you will persevere and make it through this. Don't be so anxious to act, and don't let doom and gloom be your way. The Merchant of Venice reflects not only the happenings of Shakespeare's time, but also remains relevant for audiences today because of its valuable advice.